The urgency of the time calls for this. The immediacy of the moment calls for this. And it is for one thing, and it is that the will of God, the perfect will of God prevails in our world. According to our ministry's calendar, we're supposed to be healing the sick at the healing school, ministering to visiting ministers from around the world, preparing for the International Easter Youth Camp with young people coming from all around the world, counting up to the Holy Land Tour with our man of God. My favorite moments of Pastor Chris's programs are those times when the man of God steps into the arena. The whole atmosphere literally erupts in shouts of jubilation and excitement. And this only happens when Pastor Chris is in the place physically. Well, virtually too, but the impact is greater when it happens physically. I dare say that our calendar in the ministry and God's calendar are one. And anything and anyone who dare tries to interrupt our ministry's calendar, interrupt God's calendar for the world. But in all these things, we are not disadvantaged, because nothing can and no one will ever have the church be at a disadvantage. For in the midst of the lockdown, we have locked down on Satan's goals and intentions. In the midst of the shutdown, we have shut down his evil machinations and plans. We are not done. I want to go to Dubai to preach the gospel, but I can't because I have to stay in my house. A dear brother wants to go back to school in Canada, but he can't. A sister wants to go to China for business, but she can't try it. No, we will not stop. We will not stop. I want to be able to walk into the LCA church again and receive the word of God from the lips of my esteemed woman of God, Pastor Yemisi, and hear the beautiful Praise Nation choir sing to the Lord. I want to be able to bring my new converts to church again and get them to meet the whole family physically, not just virtually. Seriously, this is not about the COVID-19. This is not even about the shutdown or the lockdown. This is about the fact that the devil is trying to take advantage and put a siege on the world. But no, we will cause this siege to cease and enforce the will of God in our world. I tell you, until this is done, we are not about to stop. Until this is done, we are not done. In the last few days, our dear man of God, like a seasoned tour guide, has taken us into the past, transported us into the future, and brought us back into the present, while juxtaposing the earth's events with what the Word of God says for such a time as this, putting them all under the X-ray vision of the Word of God. I dare say that if our world leaders would adhere to the prescriptions of Dr. Chris Oyakhilome, our world will be healed, the nations will be healthy, and everything will have a clean bill of health. And until this is done, we are not done. Tonight, we will sit in front of our radios. Yes, we will sit in front of our telephones, we will sit in front of our big screens and in front of our laptops, when really I would love to be sitting live in the studio with Pastor Chris. I will still connect, because I anticipate God's final word on this matter. But hey, think about it. How long is this going to be on for? As long as it takes for things to change. In the last few days, we have prayed, we have fasted from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. I may have lost some weight, not a problem, because of the urgency of the times, because of the immediacy of the moment. But here is my joy. We have prayed, and because we have prayed, God has answered. And because God has answered, I am greatly convinced and I'm greatly excited that the rest of 2020 will far supersede the history of the church in all its glory, in all of its influence. And yes, the word of God that was spoken to us by our man of God at the 31st night, that the masses are coming, will come to pass. The harvest, not just harvest, but great harvests will come to pass. And indeed, it will be a great harvest in soul winning, a great harvest in the wealth and in the financing of the church. It will be such that the world has never known. And yes, the church will increase in influence, in glory, in power. So rejoice. But as you rejoice, speak in tongues. And as you speak in tongues, see pictures. We are enforcing the will of God in the earth. And until this is done, we are not done.